Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a samurai light box, so let's just get right into it. For this week's project, I really wanted to make a classical samurai scene, so I went with a very classical Japanese scene with Mount Fuji, the sun, the samurai, and a bunch of trees and flowers in the foreground. The first layer I started on is the sun and the clouds in the background. I wanted to have some wispy clouds that are a little stylized, so I went with this kind of shape. And I really like how this layer turned out. I cut out the circle for the sun. Then I glued some tracing paper to cover this hole, and the first layer is done. Before we continue, I just wanted to let you know that I have new templates up on my Patreon. I have a template for this light box plus others up there, and I wanted to thank everyone who is a paid member. I really appreciate the support, and if you're interested in checking out my Patreon page, the link will be down below. The second layer I started on is Mount Fuji, and I wanted to do this second because I wanted to see how it looked in front of the sun. So I cut it out, and I wanted to have some misty waves at the bottom, and I like how that looked a lot, so I decided to go with it. And I cut out the mountain. I cut off the snowy peak. I traced it and cut it out of sketching paper, which is a little thicker than tracing paper, so it'll create a three-dimensional kind of look. And I glued that on, covered the bottom with tracing paper, and the second layer is done. The next few layers are foreground layers, and they're mostly just flowers and some grass, so these are pretty simple. I poked some holes in the flowers with a pin, and the rest is really easy. While I work on these layers, I'm going to tell you a little story that my sister wrote for this light box. The sun was bright up in the sky above, and the samurai had almost completed his mission. Shortly, the disgusting pigs that stole from his master and damaged his honor will pay. They had stolen someone special. His master had met her many years ago. Almost as soon as they set eyes on each other, they fell into the deepest kind of love imaginable. In a year, the samurai's master was able to marry his love. They were extremely fortunate. In a world of needing to maintain social status and arranged marriages, it really was rare that people got to marry out of love. The young couple spent the next 5 years in a wonderful dream. They had everything they could possibly need and were extremely happy. Unfortunately, danger was not far off, and one unfortunate day, it showed itself in the form of a rival village. They attacked in the middle of the night and dragged the young woman away. Despite his best efforts, the samurai was not able to protect her, and as a result, his honor took a massive hit, and his master forbade him from going home until she was rescued. There was one thing that had played in his favor. Her kidnappers were clumsy, and they left footprints behind in the mud, and he was not at all surprised when he positioned his feet towards the Aokihara forest. Its thick dark branches and remote recesses was the perfect place to hide something or someone that you did not want to be found. The wind rustled through the plants as he moved forward. The sun was full in the sky above, and it was really bright, almost blinding. The samurai was able to see all the rocks and blades of grass that surrounded him. He stopped to get his bearings and worried for a moment that he had lost the trail. However, he was able to find the tracks again behind the rocks and continued his mission. The day was still young, and as the samurai picked his way across the landscape, he progressed, and the temperature dropped significantly as he was heading towards the mountains. He wrapped his arms around himself to keep warm. As the hours flew by, the samurai marched and marched, slinking forward, crossing streams and climbing over trees. Nothing was going to stop him from reclaiming his honor. He stopped for a minute to run his rescue plan through his head. In front of him, as far as the eye could see, the forest spread like a sea of green, hiding many surprising secrets in its trees. Beyond them, the towering peak of Mount Fuji stood, taking his breath away. The mountain was covered in snow, and as he got closer, he was starting to get colder and colder. The morning was calm, and even the wind stopped disturbing the plants as the samurai stood drinking in the view. The forest thickened ahead of him, and he slipped down into the shadows. It was very silent, and suddenly he heard a noise behind the tree. A big man jumped out and grabbed him. The samurai twisted out of his grip and grabbed his katana and stabbed him through the gut. The samurai smiled, for if this was one of the villagers that had kidnapped the woman, he was close to regaining his honor. So yeah, that was the story. I hope you guys enjoyed. Now back to the lightbox. I wanted to keep the details of this lightbox simple, so for the samurai and all of the layers, I just cut along the paper and created a few little details here and there. I made the katana out of another sheet of paper, glued it on, and all of the layers were done. Now that all of my layers are cut out, I used some foam board, cut 1/4-inch strips, and stack all of my layers on top of each other, gluing them as I go. I get this wood box and I forced the layers into it. It was a little bit of a tight squeeze, but it worked. Then I get some LED strips, place them in the back, cover it up, and it is done. Here is the finished light box. I wasn't sure what color to use, so I tried every single color of the rainbow, and I'm not sure which one I like the most. The red and orange kind of look similar, yellow and green were okay. I kind of like the golden color. Blues, I always love blues, and then this purple pink I thought stood out the most, so I went with that for my final light up. But let me know which color you like the most down below. And yeah, I really enjoyed making this light box, and I love how the end result turned out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, check out my Patreon, and I will see you next time. Bye!